So our very first step in building any Flutter application is to open up our terminal, navigate to the folder that we want to put our app in, and type Flutter create. So we're going to have to name our app here. I am just going to call it Planner. We'll let the CLI do its thing. And once again, if Visual Studio Code is installed in your path, and that was part of the instructions, it was an optional portion of the instructions. But if you did that, you can, at this point, once it opens up the command window again for you, you can cd into Planner, and you can type code dot, and it will open Visual Studio Code at that folder for you. And once again, also, if you didn't do that, or you get that command is not recognized, you can always open Visual Studio Code, open your file, and go to open and navigate to the folder yourself. So if we recall from Unit 2, when you do that, you get your demo Flutter app with your counter. And that's not what we want. So we're going to come into main.dart, and we're going to start to clean up some of this. Last time we just completely wiped out the entire app and built it from scratch. You don't have to do that. You can take out portions of this, and you don't have to rebuild everything. So the first thing I'm going to do is just come here into build and just take out these green comments. And I'm going to keep the material app. I don't have to write the main. That's all set to go. So we might as well not throw that out. I do want to delete everything after that. So where we have class my homepage, go ahead and highlight everything below that, closing brackets, everything, and delete it. That's going to give you an error here because we no longer have a homepage. So if we come down below my app, let's create a homepage for this app, and let's use the shortcut rather than typing it out. Let's go ahead and use the tools that we have in Visual Studio Code, and I want to create a stateless widget like up here. So to do that, I can just type STL and hit enter, and it will prompt me to name the homepage. So why don't we call it just homepage, like that. And so there is no my homepage because we took that out and we created a homepage class instead. So just remove that, and let's replace it with homepage, open and close parentheses, and we no longer have an error. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. Let me bring over my emulator. And I'm going to go to main. Now, I actually have two devices going. So I have one so I can show you the finished project in iOS. And then I have an Android device here. And if you have that situation, you probably don't now. But if you ever do, down here in the bottom right-hand corner is the list of available emulators. And you can pick the one you want. So I actually have two that are open. These are available through Android Studio, and if I were to pick them, it would open them for me. But I'm going to pick the Pixel 3a because I want to run this on Android. So if you ever have that problem, you can select the device that you want down here. And we'll click Start Debugging and wait till that fires up. All right, so that's all fired up, and as I might expect, I just get a black screen because all I have on my homepage is a blank container. So we know the widget to put here on the outermost. We want to put a scaffold. Now I can see from my example here that I want a app bar that is pink and a body that is pink as well. So I want all of it to be this pink color. And I know, because I built it, that that is pink 200. So let me give myself an app bar here. And let's look at the options that we have for the app bar. And one of them is a background color. So let's say colors.pink, and let's say 200. Okay, now I would also like my body to be pink on my page. And so there's several ways to accomplish that in Flutter. But one of the ways that we can do it, that we've learned, is we can create a container that covers the entire body area and give that a color, and then put our items on top of that. So let's do that. Let's create a container. And we can save it, and we can see nothing happens, so we can give it a color. And we can say colors pink 200. And then we can give it a width. And if we wanted to go the full width of the device, our shortcut for that is double.infinity. And then the same thing with the height. If we wanted to go the full height, we can do height double.infinity. And so now we've said inside our body we want a container that is colors pink 200 and make it the full width and height of what you've got available. So if we save that, we can see that we get a pink from top to bottom. Now we have a little bit of a shadow here between our app bar and our body. So let's revisit the properties here in our app bar and see what's affecting that. And the property that we want to focus on is an elevation. So in material design, the app bar is always elevated above the body and cast a shadow. That's the default style. And so we can make that worse. I forget what the default is, but I think if we say 4, yeah, the 4 looks like that's the default. If we bring it down, it lessens the shadow. If we want to get rid of it entirely, we can say elevation 0, 0, the shadow disappears, and we have a solid pink from the body to the app bar. And this allows us to use the body and have a little bit of spacing without it running up in here like we did before. We want to use the app bar for the placeholder properties that it has, but we don't actually want it to visually appear on the screen. We want it to appear as if the whole thing was pink. So mission accomplished there. All right, so in the next section, let's focus on what's in our app bar and start to add the image to the application.